Easing up my peeps. I'm AngryDel, and this is the Tiger Showcase, and I've got my hands on a rather beastly Tiger here. So it's a level 130 Sunbeam, and the build we've gone with is headshot damage, flat damage, magazine size, and physical damage. We've gone with physical because this gun is predominantly going to be used on laser eyes and lobbers. I think in this video I'm just going to be using it on everything, but generally speaking those are going to be your targets. So the plus 44 damage gives you the most possible damage on those targets, as they're never elemental, and having headshots and flat damage perks is good. It works well on this gun because it is essentially a headshot gun. As you can see when you zoom in, it's not a sort of full sniper scope, it's just a mid-range scope, just to give you a bit more accuracy. And you can see even with physical damage on those fire elementals, it is killing them extremely quickly. This gun is absolutely fantastic for mid-range engagement. Generally speaking, as I say, I would be using it on laser eyes and lobbers, but it is a good all-round gun, and it's great for sort of taking out mobs at a bit of range. It's fully automatic. Because I'm playing Jonesy, I've got the headshot fire rate multiplier, so every time I land a headshot I'm going to be getting an extra 50% fire rate. So you know what you're seeing here, if you're not playing Urban Assault, so I'm Urban Assault Jonesy, there's also Urban Assault Headhunter, you're not going to be getting quite the same sort of fire rate. So in my build, I've gone with a Skull Trooper Jonesy Urban Assault main, which is going to give me a number of assault rifle perks, including 45% damage via debilitating shots every 5th shot, on top of the standard 10% assault rifle damage, and a fire rate multiplier. Every time I land a headshot, I'm going to get an extra 50% fire rate. And then in support, I've got Wukong, which gives me another 24% flat damage via assault damage perk. And in the tactical slot, I've gone with Raven, which gives me the explosive rounds perk, which causes every 10th enemy to explode when I kill them with a ranged weapon, which obviously helps with a wave clear. Okay, so we've got a Taker up here. Let's just have a little squirt at him and see how quickly we can take him out. Wrecked. It's a bit of a beast, this gun. I mean, with that physical damage on anything non-elemental, it's going to kill it incredibly quickly. The only thing I'm finding is, because of the amount of impact this gun has, which is a good thing because it forces staggers and can get you out of a bit of trouble, does mean you seem to have to keep readjusting your aim quite frequently. So that's the only downside in terms of the accuracy. It does make it a bit harder to aim when you're constantly getting staggers, but you will see in a moment when I find something to kill, the stability on this gun is phenomenally good. Here we go, we've got some ranged targets here, so there's a few laser eyes there stood next to an encampment. I'm going to kill them and then perhaps trigger the encampment afterwards, but I'll show you now. Look at the stability on this. So I'm firing fully automatic there, and the crosshair just isn't moving at all, and that has just destroyed those two laser eyes. I can take these point targets out. I mean, if you don't land the headshot, I will say this, with the build that I've got, it is losing a lot of damage, but it's still pretty bloody powerful. And with that unique perk, you get an extra 30% damage if you hit 5 headshots in a row, which makes a huge difference overall, because that damage is applied to the base damage, and then the headshot and crit multipliers are added in afterwards. So the 30% actually works out a fair bit more than 30% when you add everything into it. It is intended as a scoped rifle, so you're supposed to zoom in when you're firing it. But I have found, again, because of the stability and the actual, if you look at, oh my god, killed by fucking mini-mobs. Anyway, you'll see the crosshair there's got a little dot in the middle, which makes it quite easy to aim it, even when you're running and gunning. And it does, the actual crosshair doesn't bob about, so you're getting incredible stability and accuracy from it, even when you're shooting from the hip. It's not the best for close range, but it bloody well works. Let's have a pop at these chaps. Yeah, this is the sort of range you want to be using it at. So, I mean, it's not a full-on sniper rifle in that the range is limited to 5,000 Fortnite. So as you can see here, it's not full sniper range at 5,000, but that's the bloody job. The majority of your targets that you're aiming at with this, if it is laser eyes and lobbers, they're going to be at kind of mid-range anyway, not so much ultra long range, especially in the heat of battle. So it works quite nicely for what it's intended for. Right, here we go. Here's our first smasher now. He's non-elemental, so this thing should do some serious damage to him. Let's get rid of this fella first. Reload, and then hopefully we'll be able to... Oh, no. Never bloody dodge him. But now I can unload a full magazine right into his head. So as you can see, it's stable, and the amount of damage that it's doing when you land those headshots, that was really easy to down a smasher. One magazine. The power's phenomenal. I mean, when you consider most guns would have a perk of damage to afflicted targets or something like that of 45%, but I've got 40% headshot damage. It might not sound so great because it kind of sounds like you're 5% down on damage, but not really, because of this unique 6th perk, the 5 headshots in a row, and it is a straight up headshot gun. You're pretty much getting that 30% when you're laying into bigger targets, or if you've already landed a few headshots beforehand. So it's going to give you that additional damage the majority of the time. I mean, at the moment, the current meta, when you're on an encampment, all you really need to do is launch one of your turrets up. But again, I just want to sort of show you what this is capable of. Getting the mobs out there. We're going to run and gun a bit. Now, I do need to land my headshots to get decent amounts of damage out of the Tiger. But as you can see, it's not really difficult to do, even when you're running around like this. He says, while missing headshots. But yeah, compared to most sort of automatic rifles, this is an absolute breeze to hit things at close range. Okay, so I've got a nice dispersed mob here. Barrelman out first. You can see there, it really is tearing through him. The amount of damage this thing does when you land headshot, even against the elementals. So as I say, this is a physical build on this particular Tiger, and it's still absolutely smashing the shit out of the elemental husks there. And this will sort of demonstrate the range as well. I mean, this is around about the maximum distance that you'll be able to fire and get maximum damage. As you can see, it's more than enough to kill stuff before it gets all up in your grill. Particularly with oh hello, where did they come from? Particularly when you've got laser eyes. You want to be able to take them out quickly, and this will do it in a few shots. As long as you land those headshots, they're not really a problem at all. I've only got a 35 shot magazine, which isn't a lot compared to a lot of the other ARs, but considering the damage per round and all the multipliers, I mean, you can do some serious damage with this thing. Especially when that headshot multipliers kicked in. There, that last shot, 86,000. That must have been a crit, but this is an AR rifle, essentially at reasonable fire rate. So if you're landing 90,000 damage a shot, you know you've got a good gun in your hands. That is a lot of damage. Got a few beasties coming my way. Take the tanky fella out first. Look at that. Look at how clinically that was done there. This gun just does not fuck about. You land those headshots, the amount of damage that it does, a real pleasure to play with a gun as well. Like I say, it's so stable on the move, and when you're zoomed in, you can literally go full auto, no problems whatsoever. Here we go, we've got a sleeping laser eyes here. Quickly wreck him, oh, 2 of them. It's almost better not to full auto it sometimes, like there. You can see the amount of stagger I was getting. It made it almost impossible to land those headshots. Ooh, got wrecked then. So yeah, it can actually work out better sometimes not to go full auto and just to focus on your headshots. But as you can see, the amount of damage it does, it's not quite up there with a sniper rifle, but it doesn't mess about, and once you get that full-on multiplier kick in, you can down things extremely quickly. Right, we've got a tidy little mob here, nicely spread out. So I'm going to just quickly have a pop at them and see how accurately and quickly I can take them down. And they're getting pretty much one hit by this thing if I land a headshot. One shot. 2 shot, there we go. Oh, it's just a breeze to play with. I mean, look at this stability. It literally just doesn't flutter at all. Look at it go. It shouldn't be this good in these situations. It's not a wave clear gun, but it's just wrecking absolutely fucking everything. Look at it. Might as well take this lot out while I'm here. You know, ordinarily I'd be lobbing grenades, I'd be using my turrets, I'd be using different guns even, like more appropriate wave clear guns, but you can see this is working fantastically, and with that little dot there on the crosshair, even when it's unscoped, it's so easy to land the headshot. But once you get to this sort of range, and you know, they can't hit you from here anyway, well the lobbers can, but the others can't, of course. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect for that sort of range of engagement, and that's the majority of the time when you're going to be fighting laser eyes and lobbers. It's going to be at that sort of range. I've got to have a pop on this little burst mod there. So we've got our laser eyes there at mid-range. I think if you start plastering them at full auto and it starts staggering them, really you're not going to kill them much quicker, but you are going to use up a lot of durability and ammunition, so you're probably better off taking your time in those situations and just focusing on headshots. Here we go, fire smasher. Right, so I'm not expecting this to perform as well, but oh god, no headshots. Oh my god. I'm getting minus 50% damage. It's doing alright so far. I mean, oh look at that, wow. The less than 2 magazines there, that's actually really impressive. You know, if it will kill stuff like that with minus 50% damage that quickly, it does kind of make sense to go with this physical build. And then, you know, in every other situation when you're going for laser eyes, takers and lobbers, it's going to be absolutely wrecking those. So there we go, guys, the Tiger. It's a fantastic weapon, there's no question about it. I think originally I was sort of trying to compare the Tiger to a sniper rifle, which wasn't really a good way of looking at it, because it's not going to compete with a sniper, a scoped sniper in a long range engagement where you're perhaps looking to, you know, take out laser eyes, lobbers or whatever it may be, where they're absolutely miles away. They're not really a threat to you at that point in time. It's much more a sort of weapon that's useful in exclusively really in mid-range combat. As we've seen there, it will work at close range, but it's not really ideally suited for that, and that's not what the gun is intended for. It will work, which, you know, makes it useful, because in pinch situations you might just have it in your hand and it's handy just to take out some mobs or whatever that have stood next to you, but you know, really it's for those mid-range engagements. And I don't think there's many guns in Fortnite that it's really comparable to. The Deathstalker is the obvious one, because it's, you know, the same sort of gun. It does around about the same sort of damage, same range, but it isn't as powerful because of the way that the perks work. Because with this one, you know, as we discussed, you can have the double headshot with a 30% damage increase from the 5 headshots in a row, and that makes a huge difference to the damage. But on top of that, in terms of stability and the fact that it's a full auto as opposed to a burst shot like the Deathstalker, it just makes it a brilliant gun, a brilliant all-rounder, incredibly powerful. And I have to say, I think it's a bit of a game changer. If you don't already have a rifle similar to this in your artillery, so if you haven't got kind of a mid-range mist monster killing AR, something like that, so, you know, generally speaking, I would say a siege breaker, a gravedigger, something like that, it will fill in that gap. I think it's much better than a siege breaker, period, but it's not quite on par in terms of you know, how quickly you can kill a tank with a gravedigger. But as I say, it's predominantly aimed at mid-range engagements, and I think if you have a loadout where in your primary slot you're carrying something for taking out the mist monsters and point targets, you know, you'll be using that alongside your skills, grenades, shockwave or turrets to clear the mobs. But you know, something like that's useful for just taking out point targets at short to medium range. And then in your secondary slot, if you are carrying a tank killing weapon, as I said before, like the Gravedigger or a Terminator or whatever it is that you've got in that slot, then this makes a great alternative in that tertiary slot, in your third inventory slot, to a sniper rifle. Because although, yes, a sniper rifle is going to be more useful at very long range engagements, it doesn't offer the same sort of versatility that this does, and killability in many respects. The ability to quickly take out a mid-range laser eyes, lobber, taker, whatever it may be, and then immediately switch to the next target and keep doing that and just wipe those guys out quickly. You do find with a lot of the snipers, because of the time between shots or the reload or whatever it may be, it sort of limits the amount of killing that you can do in a period of time, whereas with this thing, my god, it just keeps going and going and going. So yeah, I have to say, I think it really is a game-changing weapon. If you don't have one already, make sure you buy this schematic, because it's genuinely a fantastic gun. And on this build, with headshot damage, flat damage, and physical damage, the power is phenomenal. There's nothing else really that even comes close at those sort of mid to long range engagements. So yeah, get grinding, get your heads down, and get yourselves one of these and max out as soon as you possibly can. Whether it's, you know, if you're playing in Twine, a 106 will be fine. It doesn't need to be a 130. This is obviously just emphasising the power that it's got. But yeah, I genuinely think this is game changer, and it's one that I'm probably going to be maining now. So, you know, as I say, it's not going to be better at those ultra long range engagements, but anything sort of short to mid range, it is a better choice, I think, and it's a more well-rounded option. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you found all this information useful. So until next time, GG, well played, and laters, fam. Laters.